Let's talk about goals using the Lifeline exercise. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 263 of our Get Your Goals annual challenge. And today we're talking about, and this is my rough version of my original first version of the Lifeline exercise, and not my very first, but the first in 2020, 2021, when I started sharing every other month a 30-plus day challenge to get up and go, to keep us going during the pandemic. And one of the best exercises I've ever learned throughout my lots of years in business and in corporate and in personal development is a Lifeline exercise. It's like the timelines we did in school, and I'm assuming we've all been to school, that we learned about when events happen. So like big historical events usually. Well, guess what? What's the best, most interesting historical thing in our lives? Our life, right? So we take our life and we put on a timeline or on a piece of paper the year that we were born. Yes, I was born in 1960. And then to 2023 and beyond. I always like to have the arrow beyond because I'm not willing to check out yet. And I'm not planning on checking out this year or next year or the next year or the next for quite some time now. And then we just, on our timeline, and I've done this in all the different areas and aspects of my life that we've talked about so far this year, but we have, what are the milestones, the key events in your life that have had an impact on you, maybe physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, whatever. And I'm always adding events on to my timeline as they come up from my subconscious into my conscious, and I become aware of them. But what I do then is I take each of these different areas and aspects of my life and I plot on there where my confidence was when this event happened. So for example, let me grab my magnifying glass so I can see one and share. Oh, this is funny. Okay, so I don't want to use my marriage. Confidence. Let's say I'm trying to pick a good example. Okay, not a relationship example, a confidence example. How about getting a new job? When I graduated from college, I got a great job working for Procter & Gamble right out of college. I interviewed actually through the school. I didn't think that I would. I always thought I'd go to work for 3M like my dad or Honeywell or somebody else I had interned with. But instead, I went through the interview process and I interviewed with a couple of companies, and I had an awesome interview with Procter & Gamble. Loved the gentleman who was actually going to be my boss's boss's boss if I took the job, which I did take the job, and he was my boss's boss's boss and mentor for the years that I was at Procter & Gamble. And my confidence going through that process, before I graduated from college, I had some actually really bad health challenges and was bedridden for a few years. And so my confidence was kind of tanked. But finishing school, going back to college, finishing college, getting my degrees, actually boosted my confidence enough to do those interviews. And I had a lot of experiences that other people hadn't. I was older. I'd run some businesses already than most kids graduating from college. And so I ended up being the highest paid female candidate out of the University of Minnesota that year, which really boosted my confidence once my counselor had told me that. So I was excited about that, and that positively impacted my confidence. So on here, that would be, like an 8 or a 9 on the scale of 1 to 10, because my confidence was very high at that time. I was in great physical shape. I had overcome some really bad health challenges and physical challenges, at least temporarily. They've come back to haunt me periodically throughout my life. And those are on here, the different health challenges and what it's done to my personal level of confidence. So what we do is we take those life events and we plot on a chart, just like a chart, how we feel positive or negative about our confidence. And guess what? Sometimes my confidence was below the line, right? Meaning negative. Other times it was way high and above the line. So that's one of those areas where we can go negative, is on our personal lifeline. So we're going to do that today. That's our action item, is to think about the key events in our life, in our past, and it helps us to learn from the past so that we can decide how we want to live our life going forward in the future. How do we want to act right now? Because now is really the only time we can make any changes in our life, this very moment. And then how will that impact our future? When we've had periods in our life when we're not very confident, guess what? It seems like other areas and other things in our life start to fall apart as well. But when we feel more confident, things start to work out for us. We believe that things are possible for us, and those things start to show up in our life. So we've gone through the Lifeline exercise a lot before. In the last 3-4 years, I've gone through it dozens of times, literally dozens of times. And I've gone through this exercise with literally thousands of people. So I know how powerful it is for us to sit back and go back over our past experience and say, okay, well, I see why my confidence was tanked here because of this, 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 and this. Or I see why I lost that job because my confidence was in the toilet because of this, 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 and this going on in my life, right? And it helps us to make connections and understand ourselves better. Guess what? The more aware we are and the more we understand ourselves, the more confidence we have to deal with different situations that come up in our life. So that's our topic for today. Action item: plot your confidence level on your lifeline. I'm assuming you've got one because this is our 8th area out of 9 life areas. And we definitely have talked about this at least 8 other times actually 7 other times. This is the 8th this year alone. If you need help with this, there's write-ups in Guide 17 of the private Facebook group, the Get Up and Go Challenge private Facebook group page. Guide 17 has write-ups of it. You can search in the left-hand bar, as well as Guide 16 has videos from this year for the previous 7. And the other, I don't remember which guides are which, but of the guides, you can just search in the taskbar Lifeline exercise, and it will give you all of the different examples and all in different areas and aspects of your life, as well as I'm sure we talked about it last year for sure, and this year with respect to confidence, and the previous 2 years at least once. So there's at least 4 or 5 times we've talked about confidence specifically and applied it to the Lifeline. There's all different descriptions of how to do the Lifeline. There's one in today's write-up as well, which will go in about an hour or so, depending on what's going on in my life and what happens this morning, because you never know what's going to happen, right? But I know we can handle it. All right. Any questions? Ask or search. Look me up. If you need help, I'm here as a resource to help. I've been through this stuff literally thousands of times. Otherwise, I'll be with you tomorrow. Have fun with this. Like I said, this is one of my most powerful, favorite exercises, and I hope that it is for you as well. Have a great day. And I'll, of course, be with you tomorrow.